Sponsored by Surfshark VPN. Click the link in the description below. Thanks to the rise of intermittent renewable energy sources, we've seen an increased demand for energy storage technologies like batteries, pumped storage hydro, and flywheels. But what if I told you that this little toy, a 200-year-old invention combined with thermal energy storage, might be a promising solution? Let's explore the Stirling engine and the future of renewable energy storage. I'm Ferrell. Welcome to Undecided. Not to keep beating a dead horse here, but finding viable energy storage solutions is the only way for intermittent renewable energy generation, like solar and wind, to solidify themselves as part of the energy mix. Typically, we're talking about chemical batteries or mechanical storage systems, but we may be able to add thermal-powered Stirling engines to that list. It's been reapplied in an innovative way to become another potential option for energy storage. And the whole reason that I went down the path of making this video in the first place is because of this little toy. But I'll get to that in a minute. Engines have been powering the world since the Industrial Revolution, first with dirty coal-powered steam engines, and more recently combustion and jet engines. Unlike those, the Stirling engine doesn't use steam or fuel. It can run from absolutely any source of heat that's applied externally, heating, cooling, and recycling the same air to provide useful power that can drive a crankshaft. This engine was developed by Reverend Robert Stirling when he was 26 years old and had just been ordained to his first parish. His invention was developed to overcome some of the problems of steam engines, like operating at high pressure with a risk of explosions, having low efficiency, and demanding a lot of water to operate as well. An additional benefit, since it doesn't depend on contained explosions like an internal combustion engine, is that the Stirling engine runs silently. There are three main types of Stirling engines: alpha, beta, and gamma, which are distinguished by how they move air between the hot and cold areas. Which brings me back to my little friend here, which is a displacer type of Stirling engine. There are 5 key elements of a Stirling engine. The first is the power source heat. It's where the engine gets all of the energy that's going to be used in the process, like a solar mirror concentrating heat from the sun, or a coal fire, or even a cup of tea. Seriously, a cup of tea. It's only going to provide a tiny amount of energy that would be used up quickly as the tea cools down, but it does work. Just by placing this in a hot cup of tea will get things moving. That heat transferring into the base of the engine leads me to the second key element of the Stirling engine: the gas, which is also called a working fluid. It's used to move heat energy from the source, which is the cup of tea, to the heat sink, which I'll get to in just a second. But the working fluid is sealed in the chamber inside the engine, which in this case is this right here. But it could be hydrogen, helium, or any substance that remains in a gas state when heated and cooled during the process. As the heated air expands inside, it pushes upwards against the displacer piston, which is the third key element: pistons. Now, although there are different kinds of Stirling engine designs, they usually have 2 pistons to work. The alpha configuration has a compression and expansion piston that are placed inside 2 separated cylinders. Once the heated gas reaches the top of the chamber, the gas has reached the colder side and the heat sink, which is the 4th key element. This is where the heated gas is cooled before going back to the heat source. The heat sink is usually a piece of metal that releases heat into the air, sometimes into the body of the machine itself. In the case of medium to high power engines, a radiator is required to transfer the heat from the engine to the ambient air. In this case, it's just the top metal plate. The cooled gas then returns to the hot side to repeat the process all over again, driving the piston inside the machine. And the final key element is the heat exchanger or regenerator. The heat exchanger usually is placed between the heat sink and the heat source, inside the sealed chamber. It holds heat released from the hot gas moving inside the chamber, and when gas moves back, it recovers heat from it again. The heat exchanger is important because it holds the heat that would otherwise be lost to the environment, and if it's lost, it would decrease the efficiency of the machine. There's one important thing to understand about a Stirling engine. It just needs a temperature difference between the heat source and the heat sink, where it ends up, to work. In the case of this toy, what do you think will happen if I put this on top of the ice water? But before I get to that, I'd like to thank Surfshark for sponsoring this video. I always use a VPN when using public Wi-Fi, but VPNs can be very useful even when you're at home. A lot of online services use some pretty sophisticated commercial targeting and tracking. A VPN can protect you from that. Surfshark's Clean Web does a great job of blocking ads, trackers, and malicious websites, making it safer to use the internet even at home. And you can even make it look like your IP address is coming from a completely different country. This can come in handy if you want to stream video that's only available from a specific location. One of the best parts of Surfshark is that it's easy to set up on all of your devices, whether that's iPhone or Android, Mac or PC. Surfshark is the only VPN to offer one account to use with an unlimited number of devices. Use my code to get 83% off plus 3 extra months for free. Surfshark offers a 30-day money-back guarantee, so there's no risk to try it out for yourself. Link in the description below, and thanks to Surfshark and to all of you for supporting the channel. So what happens when I put this onto ice water? It will actually slow down and start turning in the opposite direction. Why? Well, I've just reversed which side is the hotter side. The ambient room temperature air makes the top metal plate warmer than the bottom plate. It all comes down to the temperature difference between the plates. In the end, a Stirling engine can be powered by any number of sources like a combustion fuel, waste heat, or even solar heat. The thermal efficiency of Stirling engines reaches values up to 40%, while the efficiency of similar auto and diesel engines are 25% and 35% respectively. In 1986, for example, the Mod 2 automotive engine, which utilized Stirling technology with pressurized hydrogen as the working gas, reached a thermal efficiency of 38.5%, which is much higher than a spark ignition internal combustion engine of the same power. But where are Stirling engines used? To be honest, they're not used in many places. You're not going to see them in something like a car because it takes too much time to ramp them up and down, but the technology is useful in targeted cases, like a cogeneration unit which combines a Stirling engine with something like a natural gas generator. The Stirling engine can repurpose the natural gas generator's waste heat as the heat source to produce the mechanical energy. This is something that you can find in industrial and agricultural industries. On top of that, it's also utilized in submarines, nuclear power plants, and even solar power. In one application, the machine is placed at the focus of a parabolic mirror to convert solar energy into electricity, as the example of the 1.5 megawatt Maricopa solar power plant in Arizona, which reaches 31% efficiency. But it's the use of Stirling engines and their incredibly efficient conversion of thermal energy into mechanical energy that may provide another great storage option. A Swedish company, Azelio, is already a leading supplier of Stirling engine-based renewable energy solutions, which now focus on distributed and dispatchable solar electricity, using the Stirling engine for thermal energy storage, or TES. In TES systems, thermal energy can be stored by heating or cooling a material so that the stored energy can be used later, either for heating and cooling applications or for power generation. And depending on the technology, the energy can be stored and used for hours, days, or even months, which helps to address the seasonal variability in energy supply and demand. Concentrated solar plants are the most widespread application of TES, where the storage enables them to dispatch electricity 24/7. The main storage technology used is molten salt thermal storage, which accounts for 75% of TES as of 2017. But Azelio has been developing a different approach. Its technology combines Stirling's technology with TES, being charged from solar and wind generators. The technology is capable of providing 13 hours of clean and reliable electricity for continuous operation. In addition, Azelio's technology requires no replacements and zero downtime during servicing, with an incredible lifespan of 30 years. But how does it work? First, energy coming from concentrated solar power, wind, or solar PV is utilized to heat up a phase change material, which in this case is aluminum, up to 600 degrees Celsius. Reaching this temperature causes the material to change its phase state, maximizing the energy density to store the energy for a very long time. This stored thermal energy is used to power up a Stirling engine using a heat transferring working fluid. The output of the engine is then connected to an electrical generator to produce electricity with zero carbon emissions. The storage has the capacity for 13 hours of electricity delivering at nominal power, and longer when adjusting output to shifting demand. The system will also deliver heat at 65 degrees Celsius, which is useful for industrial heating. Each unit is composed of a storage unit and a Stirling engine with a peak power discharge rate of 13 kilowatts, and a heat discharge of 26 kilowatts, and the conversion rate from heat to electricity is around 30%. The modular feature of Azelio's technology provides building installations from 0.1 megawatts up to 100 megawatts. The company installed a storage facility in the 580 megawatt Noor Ouarzazate solar complex in Morocco in March of last year, and just this past December began to install its technology in one of the world's largest solar parks in Dubai, where it will be part of a mini grid composed of panels and batteries. There are also early deals in the works with Jet Energy in Francophone Africa and Svea Solar in Sweden. So far, all of these arrangements account for 426 megawatts of power with 5.4 gigawatt hours of storage capacity. All this provides a solid base to start a series production, which is scheduled for later this year. But how does it stack up to other energy storage solutions? Well, the data is still somewhat limited, but according to a life cycle assessment made by the Swedish research institute RISE, Azelio's technology is 29% lower in CO2 equivalents than a lithium-ion battery system, even when considering that batteries were only replaced once over a 25-year life cycle, and 96% lower than a high-efficiency diesel generator. Now, while it looks to be a promising solution, an effective cost comparison to other storage technologies will depend heavily on the startup's projects and its technology development over the next few years. My fascination with this little guy sent me down an interesting path I wasn't expecting. I had no idea this kind of technology was being used as a possible clean energy storage solution until I started digging around. Is the Stirling engine the answer to the future of renewable energy? The jury is still very much out, but it looks very promising. I love seeing old technologies getting repurposed in new ways like this. But what do you think? Do you know of any other unique storage solutions that I haven't covered yet on the channel? Jump into the comments and let me know. If you like this video, be sure to check out one of the ones I have linked to right here, and be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell if you think I've earned it. And as always, thanks to all of my patrons and 2 new Supporter Plus members, and I'm gonna butcher your names, Mark Zeman and Marat Dyatko. I hope I really didn't butcher them. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.